How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Grand Archive video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we have a big Grand Archive video for you because we're going to be talking about how you can start playing the Grand Archive trading card game here in 2026. Now, what this video isn't is it's not a how to play the actual card game type video. For that, I would highly recommend just checking out either one of the official Grand Archive how to play videos or the one done by my buddy Main Deck Dan. His video is fantastic. Go ahead and check that video out on how to actually play the game. What we're going to be talking about today is how you can start playing the game. Which products should you look to purchase? Maybe which ones should you avoid? And then just all recommendations, going into that. We're going to go pretty deep here, and I'm going to talk about every single card product for Grand Archive that is currently available. Some of the stuff is a little bit older, and we'll talk about that as well. But these are the things you might find when searching for Grand Archive online, or maybe if you're at a convention or something. All right, so we're gonna start at what is the easiest way to get into Grand Archive, and that is free demo decks. Now, I actually have copies of all three of the iterations of these free demo decks, including the most recent option as of the time of this recording. So let's kind of quickly talk about them. Here we have the very first initial Grand Archive demo deck. This is really hard to find and pretty unavailable. If you have a copy of this, I don't believe the cards are even legal. I think they are a little bit thicker than, current Grand Archive cards, but consider yourself pretty lucky because this is like a pretty rare find. So, hey, this could be a way to start, but there's much better options. This is quite rare. This is basically more for collectors now. The next way is, I think this is the 2022 Grand Archive demo deck. Once again, these are all demo decks. These are free, or at least they should have been free at the time of their printing. This one is okay. You will need 2 of these to play with a friend. Same is true for this one, by the way. You'll need 2 of these to play with a friend, and these are fine, if you have them, you can find them for free. Yeah, definitely go ahead, check it out, shuffle them up, and play some games. But these are not the best of the demo decks. In fact, the best of the demo decks are their newest demo decks. Now, these are the 2023 demo decks, and you might be asking, well, wait, where's the 2026? Well, they've just had these 2023 ones for quite a while. I really hope they make more and more updated demo decks, but these are pretty good. This actually comes with 2 little tiny mini decks inside to teach you how to play the game with 2 separate decks and 2 separate elements. We have both fire and wind, and this is pretty good. I think this is the one that they have currently in rotation. So if you find Grand Archive at a big convention like Anime Expo, or if you are somehow in Tokyo and you're at Daivangasai and Grand Archive is there, which they are going to be there this year, you can actually see if they have any of these to give out, and these are free. So this is the free recommendation. It's an okay way to start out, just to learn the basics of the rules. Now, a step up from that are the starter decks that come out with almost every main Grand Archive set, and we'll talk about all the sets and the expansion sets and all that kind of stuff when we talk about all the booster sets. But in terms of starter decks, yeah, these are pretty good way to just learn the basics and some of these archetypes. These are not competitive decks out of the box. No. These are just a way to learn how to play the game. And I think these are just yeah, these are fine. These are okay to learn to play Grand Archive, to kind of jump in maybe with a buddy. Each one of you will buy, one of these from whatever the newest set is. These are the ones from Distorted Reflections, and yeah, it's just kind of a nice little way to learn to play the game. Like I said, they're not competitive decks, but they're a decent start to kind of learn the basics of each of these archetypes. And if you've already watched a video on how to play, yeah, you can pick these up and kind of play along. Now, before we start talking about even more pre-constructed decks, I want to mention the Prelude kit. This is basically a 2-deck, dual deck kind of thing that is a Kickstarter exclusive. So many years old at this point. And, well, this is pretty rare and hard to get, but I still wanted to mention it. This, in terms of teaching you and learning how to play, I think is actually really good, and comes with some really good competitive staples. This actually comes with a playset of dungeon guides, which recently got reprinted in another deck that we'll talk about a little bit later. But at one time, they were $20 cards. And so, yeah, this is a decent way to learn how to play. Now, is it efficient? Probably not. A lot of the cards in here are old or, you know, outdated, don't see a lot of play, even though it does feature some of my favorite characters in all of Grand Archive, like Rai and Lorraine. But these aren't really competitive decks, and you're not going to really be playing with a ton of the cards found in here. But there are some cool ones. There are definitely some cool cards to be had in here. The big thing is that these are expensive, right? These are really expensive to find because they're super rare. And these also include a little bonus pack that has some like a nice little Kickstarter stamp on the cards too. So like a nice little pack that has like a curated list of cards. There's some really nice cards in the pack too, but like I said, just not a super cost-effective, efficient way to get into Grand Archive. But if you've somehow come across one of these that's like less than $100 and you want to check it out, yeah, do it. They're pretty cool. Now at this point in time, I want to mention that every single product we're talking about, every single deck that has been released for Grand Archive or will be released for Grand Archive, I have a video of here on Red Zone Rogue reviewing the deck and just talking about it and opening up all the cards and discussing everything involved. So if you'd like to see all that kind of stuff, I will put a link in the description down below, just kind of to our giant list of Grand Archive videos, or you can just kind of like search for it in the little search bar and should be able to find it pretty easy. I'm not going to link literally all of them because I have literally all of them. There's a ton. But the next product I want to talk about is literally one of my favorite TCG products on the entire market. It is one of the best pre-constructed decks I've ever seen in the TCG industry, and I've been playing card games since 1995, and that is the Recollection deck series. These are exquisite. These are kind of like the next step up from your regular pre-constructed starter deck. Now, are these decks fully competitive right out of the box? No, not really. But what these are decks that offer brand new archetypes and strategies and brand new cards in a really cool way. They come with full play sets of every card in here. Usually to make it that you actually have more cards than enough to build a deck, so you can actually custom tailor each deck to your liking. They also come with a full set of 100 Dragon Shield sleeves featuring whatever the character is. So for this one, this is the Mordred Recollection deck, and yes, it will have Dragon Shield Mordred sleeves. These also usually feature some sort of like bonus booster pack or something like that. Maybe some sort of bonus box topper depending on which one you're actually looking at, as well as some like dividers and a bunch of, you know, you have this really nice magnetic box. Here, let me showcase the Merlin one to showcase the magnetic box. So here's the Merlin Recollection deck, and then it's actually like a really nice like hard magnetic box to like store your stuff. It's quite good, and once again it fits everything in here perfectly. So these are what I would recommend to you if you already know how to play Grand Archive and you kind of want to get in at like a little bit of a higher level. These decks tend to be quite complicated, but they're really fun to play for the most part, and most of them are very good. Now I'm holding up the Merlin one. This is probably one of the weirder ones out of the box. It's kind of, it's not super complicated once you understand how to play it, but it's not the most competitive. It's cool, it's fun, it features a very, very awesome fan favorite character, but at the end of the day, this is probably one of the weaker ones. Now, I will showcase all of them right now and talk about whether I think you should purchase them or not. So the first two Recollection decks that were released are the Sylvie and the Tristan Recollection decks, and these are both extremely good. If you can find these, I think they're fantastic. The Sylvie deck is quite strong right out of the box, and all you need is maybe some dungeon guides and a couple extra cards to make this pretty competitive viable. This is one of the best ones you can get, with one exception we'll talk about in a moment. I also feel that the Tristan deck is very good and really strong. You'll have a lot of staple cards in here like Incapacitate, and Tristan herself is the champion that won last year's World Championship for Grand Archive. So these are both really, really good, and you also have a cheaper version of these available that you can pick up as well. And that, of course, is the Recollection deck Light. Now these only exist for Sylvie and Tristan. They haven't made these for any of the other ones yet. So if you want just the decks, so that just comes with the decks, none of the extra bells and whistles, and honestly the storage thing is really loose, and I wouldn't recommend storing your decks in these, even though they're very nice. If you just want the decks at a cheaper price, you can get these. But once again, these only exist for Sylvie and Tristan. The next two we have are Guoja and Dao Chan. And these are, well, the Dao Chan one is cool. It's probably the hardest one to play out of the box and probably the least competitive out of the whole bunch next to the Merlin deck. However, this does give you the framework for an extremely powerful water fractals deck, but you'll need to add a lot of cards to kind of make it up to competitive viable. But it does give you a lot of the framework for that particular deck. So for that, I say, yeah, if you want to try it out and you want to play like, you know, on hard mode, you can go with the Dao Chan. For Guoja is really strong, actually. This particular version of Guoja isn't the most powerful, but it's still like pretty good, and we'll give you a fun idea of what Guoja does, as well as kind of like how you know, Tamer plays a little bit. Just like Dao Chan, right out of the box, you'll need a lot more support to make this more competitive viable, but out of the box, this one does have a little bit of a better play experience than Dao Chan. So if you're gonna pick between these two, just pick whatever one you like, honestly. Guoja tends to be a little bit better right out of the box, but if you wanna be big-brained and hard mode, you can play Dao Chan. And of course, the final one, we've already shown it off, it's Mordred. This is the one that I would recommend. This is the best one right out of the box, gives you the best experience next to the Sylvie deck. I think Sylvie is really close to this one, but this one's also very good. And this one also contains a lot of competitive staple reprints in full play sets, like the 4 of Dungeon Guide, as well as the 4 of Frostworn Paladin. Both of those cards are extremely powerful. The Dungeon Guides at one point or another, like I said, they were worth over 20 bucks. Obviously, the prices have gone down since this was printed, but yeah, this is great. And the deck right out of the box is really solid. It's really solid. You can just have a couple upgrades, and it's good to go. Pretty close to the Sylvie deck, to be honest. And one final thing to note about both of the Sylvie decks is that they contain cards that are now banned. So I would recommend, before bringing these to like an actual competitive event or something, check the ban list, make sure your deck is legal. It just has, there's some cards that have been banned from both of these and then unbanned, and then just check the list and you'll see what's available at the time, because I don't know when you're watching this video. And the final pre-constructed product for Grand Archive is literally my favorite one. We have the Pantheon pre-constructed decks. Now, Pantheon is my current favorite way to play Grand Archive. You can think of it like kind of Commander-esque, but in a much more transformative way, because you have boons that can alter your classes and give you more elements to play with. It's really, really cool. I love Pantheon. But yeah, there are currently 4 pre-constructed decks. We have Xander and Arasana, as well as Lorraine and Kong Ming. And I do once again have a video going over all of these decks as well in some pretty in-depth detail. These are great. If you want to play Pantheon, these are fantastic. These do all include a bunch of staples for the Pantheon format, as well as some, you know, various reprints throughout Grand Archive's history. So these are my #1 recommendation if you want to play their multiplayer format. These come with some really good stuff. These are fantastic. So if you want to play multiplayer, this is where it's at. I would highly, highly, highly recommend learning how to play the game at a base level before you jump into the multiplayer format with either just like the regular starter decks or the demo decks or something to familiarize yourself with the game before just jumping into Pantheon. But after you're familiar with the game, these are great. So if my general recommendation for the pre-constructed decks are, after you learn how to play, if you want to play multiplayer, you get these. If you want to play 1v1, you get a Recollection deck. All right, now finally, let's talk about all of the booster set products. We have all of the booster boxes here for Grand Archive, with the exception of Radiant Origins, which we'll talk about by itself. But should you buy booster packs to start playing Grand Archive? The answer is no. You should just buy one of the pre-constructed decks we talked about. But booster packs and booster product is a great way to, like, you know, upgrade your decks or supplement them, you know, augment them. You buy these in conjunction with a starter deck, or if you just kind of want to jump into the deep end, you can just buy the deck, you know, as singles from something like TCG Player. Now, generally speaking, it's just cheaper to buy singles than just to, you know, gamble on booster packs and booster products. But if you just want to drop a lot of money and you want to gamble, then yeah, you can get some booster packs. Now, the difference between these two, you can even see the size difference. So these 4 here, you have Dawn of Ashes, Alchemical Revolution, Mortal Ambition, and the Sword of Reflections. These are what you would consider like their main line sets. But we also have these. Now, these are what I would consider like expansion sets. These are to augment and supplement the themes and the champions found in their main set. So we have Fractured Crown, Mercurial Heart, this is my favorite one. We have Abyssal Heaven, and then we have Phantom Monarchs, and they correspond to the ones that we just talked about in the same order. And as expansion sets, like I said, these, you know, supplement the sets that they're kind of tied to. So Fractured Crown goes with Dawn of Ashes, and as such down the list. And so if you wanted to jump into one of these, I would recommend that you pair it alongside the main booster set that goes along with it. Now we also have one more type of booster box, and that is the Capstone set Radiant Origins. Now this is our very first Capstone set for Grand Archive, and you can think of this as a juiced up booster set. It's more expensive, but it also has better pull rates than normal, so it has like double the price but also double the pull rates. And it's just kind of like a big celebration of Grand Archive. The boxes that these come in are really, really nice, as you can see here. In fact, there are a bunch of different like you know, sleeves that have different art on them for each of these, and these are just some of my favorite ones. Here's big boy Argus, and here, let me actually take off one of the sleeves and show you what these look like. All right, so here we have Argus. We'll take off the sleeve. Inside here is like a little, you know, art. You can actually extend this and frame it or do whatever you want with that. But the actual booster box is extremely nice. It's like a hard cardboard box that has magnetic latches, and then the whole thing just kind of like comes off. And then inside you can use the box as storage. You can take these out and it stores really, really well. And you also have another collectible, like, you know, box topper thing if you care about that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is like extremely nice. One of the nicest TCG boxes I've ever seen in the industry. It's crazy. Would I recommend starting with Radiant Origins? Kind of. I would definitely recommend starting with any of the pre-constructed decks first, but this would be a great booster set to get into to help supplement all the stuff, because this has support for every single champion in the game, a ton of really, really good, competitive, and expensive reprints, as well as just a lot of new powerful cards. This is one of the best sets they've ever made, and yeah, it's great. The only downside is that it's expensive. Like I said, it's twice as expensive as any of the other booster sets, and well, it has twice the pull rates as well. So while I say I kind of recommend it, it's a caveat, right? It's expensive. Can you afford it? I would also recommend starting with like a starter deck first. But after that, if you can afford it and if you can find them, this is a really sweet one. And as always, just buying singles, buying cards from like TCG Player or from your LGS is always cheaper for the most part than buying sealed products. So if you just wanted to upgrade your decks from there, singles is always a great way to go. Just buy the booster boxes and packs if you want to have fun with them and if you want to gamble a little bit. Now, the very final thing we're going to talk about in the video are these funny little boxes. This is Supporter Pack, and now currently we have 3 different Supporter Packs for Grand Archive. So we have Supporter Pack 1, we have Supporter Pack 2, and then Supporter Pack 3. Now, what are these? Well, these are booster packs, but these are exclusively alternate art reprints from other Grand Archive sets. And as such, I would not recommend these if you just want to start playing the game. This will not help you at all. These are exclusively to get cool alternate art cards. That's it. Yeah, just to get cool alternate art cards and foils and stuff. That's all this is. These are like event exclusive things that you can purchase when you are at like an Ascent, or if you find Grand Archive at Anime Expo or whatever. But other than that, to start playing, no, not really. And that's going to be that for our How to Start Playing Grand Archive in 2026. I hope this video was helpful to at least someone out there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me a lot, and I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you for being here as well. But yeah, without further ado, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Double hand wave. See you later, everyone.